Welcome to AI Pulse, your look at the news from tomorrow. It is January 15th, 2026, and today we're taking a snapshot of a world that is really grappling with the next huge wave of artificial intelligence.
Okay, let's just dive right in. We're tracking some major developments today that are shaping everything from business and medicine to, our basic understanding of what AI can even do.
So, here's what's on the docket. We're seeing AI get embedded deeper and deeper into the core of how businesses run. Think internal audits, cybersecurity, legal, you name it. But to balance out all that amazing progress, we've got a pretty stark warning from the legendary investor Warren Buffett, and he's putting the potential risks in a whole new perspective.
All right, first up, we're looking at what feels like a really crucial turning point. After years of just breathless hype, businesses are finally moving into a much more, let's say, pragmatic phase with AI. The era of just playing around with it, that's giving way to serious strategy.
And this quote from Capgemini's latest report, it just hits the nail on the head. We are so past the pilot projects. The focus now is all about weaving AI into the very fabric of a company, making it a permanent, essential part of the business.
And it's not just talk, The proof is right here in the numbers. This data shows that nearly 4 out of every 10 large organizations are now actively using generative AI in their day-to-day work. This stuff has officially moved out of the lab and onto the assembly line, into the marketing department, and right into the C-suite.
And wow, are they investing in this shift? On average, companies are planning to set aside a full 5% of their entire business budget just for AI this year. I mean, that is a serious investment. It signals a real commitment to building out the whole shebang. The data, the governance, the skills, everything.
So, here's the really crucial point. How success is being measured has totally changed. It's not just about cutting costs or being a little more efficient anymore. The big shift in thinking is that the ROI of AI is now about making money, not just saving it. Companies are using it to actually drive revenue, to manage huge risks, and to create a way better customer experience.
Now let's switch gears, because while the corporate world is getting all realistic, a completely different kind of race is heating up in healthcare. And this one is high stakes, high speed, with some potentially life-changing consequences.
Get this, in what feels like a coordinated blitz, the 3 biggest names in AI, we're talking OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic, have all launched specialized medical AI tools within days of each other. It's wild. They're each aiming at the same problems in healthcare, from crushing paperwork to analyzing complex data.
And the performance of these new models is, well, it's just staggering. Both Google and Anthropic are reporting the exact same 92.3% accuracy score on a key medical benchmark. We're talking about a level of performance that's starting to rival expert human doctors, at least on these specific tests.
But, and this is a huge but, despite those incredible scores, the companies are being so careful. OpenAI is making it crystal clear that its tool is not, I repeat, not for making any kind of clinical decision.
And it's the same story over at Google. They're positioning their powerful Med-Gemma model not as a ready-made doctor in a box, but as a starting point, a tool for other developers to build with. They're basically shifting the responsibility down the line.
And yep, you guessed it, Anthropic is just as cautious. They're explicitly saying their model should not be used for direct clinical practice. So you have these unbelievably powerful tools, and at the same time, their own creators are waving these massive red flags about actually using them. Which of course brings us to the absolute critical question. Is 92.3% accuracy on a test the same thing as clinical safety? An AI can be right almost all the time on a benchmark, but what happens in that other 8% when a real patient's life is on the line? How do we bridge that gap between amazing lab scores and tools that are actually safe and reliable in a busy clinic?
All this caution from the big labs naturally leads to our next topic, because while the official announcements are all buttoned up and conservative, there's a very different, much more speculative conversation happening online among developers and AI fans.
And the central question everyone's debating is this. Is the AI that we get to use just the tip of the iceberg? Is it possible, maybe even likely, that the major labs are sitting on models that are way more capable than anything they've shown us?
And check this out. This one comment from a Reddit discussion points to an interview with DeepMind's CEO, suggesting there's this big lag between what they have internally and what we get. And in the world of AI, 4 or 5 months, that might as well be an eternity. So why would they wait? Well, it seems like they're caught in this strategic dilemma.
On one hand, you have the insane market competition pushing them to release everything to get that first mover advantage. But on the other hand, there are some really powerful reasons to wait. Fear of a public backlash, genuine safety concerns, and even practical stuff, like maybe not having enough server capacity to run it.
All of this brings us to our final story today. And for this one, we're going to take a big step back from the business deals and the online speculation to ask a much more fundamental, almost philosophical question about the nature of the intelligence that we're actually building. There's this fascinating new research paper that introduces a really cool distinction: the difference between doing and knowing. See, an AI can get really good at doing a task, like following a set of instructions perfectly, but does it actually know or understand the world it's operating in? Does it have a sort of mental map it can use for new situations? And this example just illustrates it perfectly. You can train an AI agent to go to the kitchen and get an apple. It can learn that sequence of moves flawlessly. But does that mean it actually has a map in its head? Does it know that the kitchen is, say, next to the living room? Probably not.
And the researchers' conclusion is, well, it's pretty sobering. They found that an AI's ability to succeed at a task, its performance score, is actually a pretty poor indicator of whether it has any real grounded understanding of its environment. The two things are, surprisingly, not that connected.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought to chew on. If an AI can perfectly execute any command we give it, does it even matter if it truly understands our world? Or, when it comes right down to it, is perfect obedience all we really need?